So this person says that you gotta admit, most people juggle in a way that doesn't develop their skills. The way you juggle is highly useful, but a lot of kids are just trying tricks. Now, here's the thing. I do think most, if not all, of juggling does help you as a soccer player. However, not all kinds of juggling help as much. And it is at least possible some kinds of juggling are mostly useless. They don't really hurt you, but they don't help you. But other kinds of juggling are incredibly useful and have direct carryover to the skills you're going to use in a game. So let's go over a few different kinds of juggling and which ones are most beneficial and least beneficial. So to start, we'll go with the worst kind of juggling that I think has the least overall carryover. The worst type of juggling is toe juggling. So it's where you juggle with the top of your toe right here. And it looks kind of like this. It's very common with freestylers, but I kind of suck at it. So it looks like this. And the reason it's not good is it doesn't really develop your touch like you would to control it in a game. It rather is more of a rhythm. Instead, how I like to juggle is with my laces right here on the hard bone of the foot. And the reason that's better is it's the same surface you do when you shoot with power. So this looks more like this. But the reason it's really good is because when the ball's up in the air, that's the part of the foot you want to control the ball. And this is one of the best ways juggling helps. Kicking the ball up in the air, controlling it. Kick the ball up in the air, controlling it. Maybe one of the next best things to do is different surfaces of the foot. So inside of the foot, outside of the foot, and of course, head, shoulders, thighs, and there's several other things like that. But we can even get into how some freestyle tricks help you with soccer. Now, freestyle tricks, I actually think, are a wonderful way to be creative and improve your technical skills. Obviously, not all of them have direct carryover to the game. However, most of them have at least a little bit of indirect carryover. And there are several different categories. The first one we're going to start out with is around the world variations. So, around the worlds like this, I actually think they're quite good for developing a little bit of technique and fast feet. Now, there's going to be diminishing returns. If you can do one or two, that's wonderful. But getting to 10, 20, 30, 40 is probably not all that useful. However, there are more advanced versions of around the worlds too. So for example, this trick is called alternative Michi around the world. This one, I think, is a little less technical, but it's a little more powerful. And it actually functions more like a plyometric exercise. So it helps with an athletic aspect to soccer. The next category of freestyle tricks would be stall tricks. So the most basic one would be a foot stall like this. And this requires some balance, but it's pretty easy, pretty basic. Then we have a knee stall. This requires a bit more balance. Then we have some other stalls, such as chest stall, which requires a little bit more balance and mobility. But as you notice, it is similar to receiving the ball. Then we have head stall like this. Once again, you don't have to master it, but it does show coordination. Then we're going to get to the last category of freestyle tricks for today. The last category of freestyle tricks we're going to go over today is sit-down juggles. And one of the things you have to be able to do this is you have to be able to start standing and then sit down. And of course, once you're done, you're going to have to stand back up. This requires both athleticism and technical skills. But we're going to sit right back down for now. One of the reasons I think sit-downs are very useful is sit-down juggling requires ultimate touch and control because you can't chase the ball. You have to control the ball. So if you can juggle sitting down, especially doing intricate tricks like this, it probably means you have a very high level of control. But even more than that, if you can do tricks like this, where you spin and control the ball, it's even better. Now, the last type of sit-down trick is one of the most impressive, but this probably has some of the lesser carryover. Soul juggling. I wouldn't say it has no carryover, but it still has carryover. But I wouldn't prioritize learning this if your goal is just soccer. I would instead prioritize learning your touches and just getting confident, but also be creative. It's okay to sometimes learn a trick, even if it doesn't have direct carryover to playing in a game. Because at the end of the day, soccer's supposed to be fun. If you only put in the long, boring work, you're probably not going to want to go out to the field to practice, especially not when other players aren't. And if you want to be a good player, you have to be willing to practice when no one else is.